morning, this is Bob Mason from FX Empire and welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin and Ripple's XRP. We're looking at the MACDs, the moving averages, the day's support, resistance and pivot levels and the Fibonacci's. It is Friday the 30th of April. Jump straight into Bitcoin against the US dollar. It's a mixed start to the day for Bitcoin. Can you see Bitcoin move through the pivot at 53,722 to take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 55,066. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Bitcoin to break back through to 55,000 levels. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 55,222 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, should see Bitcoin target 58,000 levels before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 56,567. Just move back through the pivot there, so failure to avoid a fallback through the pivot will bring the first major support level at 52,221 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Bitcoin should steer clear of the first major support level at 58.77 and the 23.6% fib at 54.73. Looking at the MACD, we got a bullish cross at the start of the day, supporting some upside through the early part of the morning. On the EMAs, the 50 has flattened on the 100 and the 200, avoiding a narrowing and a possible bearish cross, but need to keep an eye on that. So keep through the early part of the day, avoid a fallback through the pivot at 53,722 and break back through to 55,000 levels to then target 58,000 levels. Failure to do that and support levels will be in play. Across to Ethereum against US dollar, mixed start to the day as well. Going to need to Ethereum avoid a fallback through the pivot at 27.44. Take a run at the first major resistance level at 28.15. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ethereum to break out from yesterday's new swing high. That was at 2800. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level to cap any upside. In the event of a breakout, should see Ethereum target 3,000 levels before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 2872. The fallback through the pivot would bring the first major support level at 2687 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ethereum should steer clear of sub 2600 levels. Second major support level at 2616 should limit the downside. Looking at the MACD, it's got a narrowing of the bearish histograms at the turn of the day, suggestive of a possible bullish cross, so keep an eye on that through the early morning. On the EMA, the 50 is holding its ground against the 100 and the 200, so continuing to deliver a bullish signal. So keep through the early part of the day, avoid a fallback through the pivot at 27.44 and break through yesterday's new swing high 2800 to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, support levels will come into play. Moving across to Litecoin against US dollar, mixed start to the day as well. Going to need to see Litecoin move back through the pivot at 256 to target the 23.6% fib at 262 and the first major resistance level at 263. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Litecoin to break back through to 260s. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 265 to cap any upside. In the event of a breakout, should see Litecoin target 285 levels before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 270. Failure to move back through the pivot will bring the first major support level at 249 into play. Barring an extended sell-off, Litecoin should stay clear of sub 240s. Second major support level at 242 should limit the downside. Looking at the MACD, we've got a narrowing of the bearish histograms, but need to keep an eye out for a possible bullish cross. So keep an eye on that through the early part of the morning. On the EMAs, the 100 has narrowed marginally on the 50 while pulling away from the 200. So that's still a bullish indicator for Litecoin. So keep through the early part of the day, move back through the pivot at 256 and back through to 260s to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that and support levels will come into play. We're looking at Ripple's XRP against US dollar. It's been a choppy start to the day. Going to need to see Ripple's XRP avoid a fallback through the pivot at 1.3826 to take a run at the first major resistance level, saying at 1.4362. We'll need support from the broader market for Ripple's XRP to break out from yesterday's high. That was at 1.4190. So barring an extended crypto rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 1.5 to cap any upside. In the event of a breakout, should see Ripple's XRP target 1.5 levels. Second major resistance level sits at 1.4726. Fall back through the pivot will bring the first major support level at 1.3463 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ripple's XRP should avoid sub 1.3s. Second major support level sits at 1.2927. Looking at the MACD, we have a bullish cross at the turn of the day, but no major widening of the bullish histogram, so need to keep an eye on that. On the EMAs, the 50 has held its ground against the 100 and the 200, so that's still a bullish indicator. So keep through the early part of the day, avoid a fallback through the pivot at 1.3826, break back through to 1.4s to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that and support levels will be in play.